Well, some bad news for Ed Miliband today if he cares about such things. The revelation that he's failed to make a list of Britain's best connected men.
What might make it even more galling for the Labour leader is that his brother David is there, despite not even being based in the UK anymore. And perhaps adding insult to injury, Tom Baldwin, Miliband Jr.'s chief spin doctor, also makes the cut. To be fair, there are very few politicians on the list, with the Shadow Education Secretary Tristram Hunt the only Labour MP, while London Mayor Boris Johnson is the only Tory politician, with the exception of the Prime Minister David Cameron. Away from the world of politics, the ubiquitous David Beckham is on the list, as is the BAFTA-nominated actor Idris Elba, who made it big on both sides of the Atlantic.
Well, the list was drawn up for GQ magazine to replace its most influential list, compiled in part by the networking organisation Economic Intelligence. Their founder, Julia Hobsbawm, is with me now. You on the list?
Hello. It's a boys' list.
Oh, it's
a men's
right.
list.
Sorry.
I was allowed to compile it with a number of colleagues, men and women, and GQ.
So what does this tell us about what about this top 100?
Well, we were trying to do a new take on an old twist. The old twist is the list. And we wanted to recognise what's really happening in the world of connection. And it's not really a top-down linear list of number 1 to 10. It's not ranked. And it's not about old power and influence. It's not about who you know only. I can see you wincing, but it's not actually. It's about who and what you know. And it's much more lateral. And there are some surprising omissions. Not only is...
Well, it would be, otherwise no one would be interested.
Well, quite, but it's not only that, it's also about a new set of values about what connection means. It's not just about having top jobs. It's also quite fundamentally about who you help, how connected you are to wide ideas, rather than just, you've got a groovy job.
Seems to be being a GQ regular helps as well to get on the list.
I have to say, the ubiquitous charge with the list is that it's all everybody's mates. I don't know half the people on this list.
No, it reads like that to me, I have to say.
Well, I'd be very happy to talk you through the people we do and don't know personally. We created a group of people to trawl into wider groups that we didn't necessarily know. Inevitably, with no disrespect to the people on the list, for every one name there could be another 10.
But what does it tell us, for example, let's take the Miliband example, what does it tell us that David Miliband in the UK is better connected than his brother? I mean, explain that.
What it means is that what we think is valuable now is not just being on Twitter. It's about having a wide range of connections across a different set of subjects. So actually the more interesting comparison perhaps is Tristram Hunt versus Ed Miliband. Ed Miliband has got maybe 300,000 odd followers. Tristram Hunt has got maybe 20,000.
Tristram Hunt's posh.
Ed Miliband follows
David Cameron's posh. Boris Johnson's posh. And lo and behold, they're all on the list.
Well, hang on, there's a separate point about meritocracy. This list, the one thing you can say about it is it's showing there's a new kind of network that is nothing to do with the old boy network.
Nothing to do with meritocracy either. If you're going to Eton, is what counts.
Oh, come on. If you look at the number of people in the arts and culture and food, which make up 3 times as many people on this list as politicians, vast proportion of those are self-made.
Yeah, and interestingly, sport is actually a very small category in this, isn't
it? Well, that may just be my own personal bias. I can't possibly comment. I mean, what's interesting, actually, is overall, politics does seem to matter less than roles in culture. To your point, Adam, in politics, old boy network is still very dominant, but outside in the wider world, it's much less so.
And the way in which you've ranked people, not a linear ranking, but you've described them as connectors, influencers, socialisers. Spiders. What's a spider?
Well, the idea of a spider is you're the centre of a number of different disciplines. That's what's interesting to us, is now power, if you like, influence and success comes from knowing quite a lot about a wide range. It's not about being in a bunker, it's not about being a master of the universe. And often the spiders are at the centre, literally, of a web of connections. But more importantly than that, the connector is, for me, the top of the list. The connector helps other people. Networking is about working hard and working the room, but it's also about working on behalf of others. And there is a spirit of generosity in this list amongst some of the people. They haven't got to where they've got without helping others.
So what would you say is the most surprising inclusion?
Well, I quite like the juxtaposition, because as you pointed out, there's a wheel rather than a linear. I quite like seeing Peter Tatchell next to the Prince of Wales. you know, and I quite like the fact that someone like Sanjay Nazarali, the Chief Strategy Officer of Cara, the media group, is next to Rupert Murdoch. You know, there's some very, very well-known players and some less well-known players.
Rupert Murdoch's still influential, is he?
As I say, it's about the best connected, Adam, and you can't take Rupert Murdoch completely out of the equation just yet.
OK, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.